$7. Antiwar.com reports, according to U.S. Central Command, U.S. warplanes attacked a major east-west highway in Syria on Wednesday to prevent a Red Crescent-led evacuation program, which was taking the Islamic State fighters and civilians out of the Syria-Lebanon border area of Deir ez-Zor under a ceasefire deal. After the Islamic State lost most of its territory in the border region, they negotiated an evacuation deal with the militaries involved. The U.S. insists it was not a party to the deal and felt justified attacking the highway to stop the convoy as a result. The buses are said to contain 308 militants and 331 civilians. The U.S. insists that the convoy was not directly attacked because of the number of women and children inside, but that they do insist on all of the militants being killed instead of delivered to Deir ez-Zor. On the other hand, the convoy is now effectively stuck smack in the middle of Syria with no easy way to move on to their intended destinations. CENTCOM spokesman Colonel Ryan Dillon insisted the convoy is still being monitored and that the U.S. would not rule out attacking the buses in the future if they believe it's appropriate to do so. Colonel Dillon went on to slam Russia, who appears wholly uninvolved with this whole evacuation process. He said the fact that Russia did not actively prevent the convoy from leaving proved that they aren't serious about fighting the Islamic State. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the top 3 U.S. airlines met with Secretary of State Rex Tillerson on Wednesday to ask for help competing with state-owned airline companies in the Middle East that they say are unfairly subsidized. Etihad Airways and Emirates Airlines are each owned by the United Arab Emirates, while Qatar Airways is owned by the Qatari government. And the CEOs of Delta Airlines, American Airlines, and United Airlines argue that those airlines receive massive unfair state subsidies, which is not allowed under their International Open Skies Agreement. The 3 U.S. airline companies have been making allegations about unfair subsidies for years, while the Middle Eastern airlines have repeatedly denied them. Not all airlines from the U.S. are on the side of the big 3 companies. Hawaiian Airlines and JetBlue Airways have said they don't want to renegotiate the Open Skies Agreement, and FedEx also has opposed the measure because it has a major shipping hub in Dubai that operates under the same agreement. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports Tropical Storm Harvey spun across southeast Texas into Louisiana on Wednesday, sending more people fleeing for shelter after swamping Houston with record rains and flooding that killed at least 25 people and drove tens of thousands from their homes. The slow-moving storm has forced at least 30,000 people to seek shelter since coming ashore on Friday near Corpus Christi, Texas, as the most powerful hurricane to hit Texas in more than half a century. On Wednesday, it pummeled a stretch of coast from Port Arthur, Texas to Lake Charles, Louisiana. Among the latest deaths reported were 2 people who drowned while driving through high water near Simonton, Texas, about 40 miles west of Houston. Houston's KHOU-TV reported that an infant girl was swept away by floodwaters as her parents were driving from Houston towards Louisiana on Highway 150. Police in Harris County, home to Houston, said 17 people remained missing. Busloads of people fleeing floodwaters around Port Arthur arrived in Lake Charles, joining local residents who had already packed into shelters to escape waterlogged homes. Moody's Analytics is estimating the economic cost from Harvey for Southeast Texas is between $51 to $75 billion. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said the worst is not yet over for Southeast Texas as far as the rain is concerned. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Japan grants suffrage to female robots. And a hypochondriac maple tree is always convinced it has Asian longhorn beetles. The following two statements are true. The previous statement is false, and this is the Onion Week in Review. This week, Americans nationwide were stunned to hear horrific allegations on Wall Street revealing that numerous junior bankers have been forced to survive on a mere $6,800 per week. The findings, which implicate numerous high-profile financial institutions such as Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, and Citibank, suggest that hundreds of first-year bankers are constantly deprived of basic necessities, including penthouse apartments overlooking Central Park and regular company-financed vacations to the French Riviera.
Many of these bankers are 23 or 24 years old and don't even have access to an expense account of over $50,000 a year. Not only that, but some of them are making as little as 20 times minimum wage. I mean, this is truly disgraceful.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We'll give you the toll-free call-in line here in just a moment where you can join us. The us in studio tonight is Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And we're going to start off, and I know it's sort of been, like the thing to talk about over the last week, and that would be the situation down in Texas and now Louisiana, where Hurricane Harvey, after devastating Houston, went back out to the Gulf for just a little bit and then came back onto the land in Louisiana, and a lot of stuff is being flooded. And Chris, you've got an article about flood insurance, and it's really kind of a boondoggle. And I remember many years ago, probably a decade ago, might have been a little longer, might have been not quite that long, when who's the guy with the mustache?
John Stossel.
Hitler?
Yep,
Yeah.
John Stossel
did the expose on flood insurance and how it sort of incentivizes people to live in areas prone to flooding.
It absolutely does, and we see that. I mean, most of the growth in our country, population-wise, has been in urban areas that are close to seaboards. And
because who doesn't want to be close to the ocean?
Right. It is like the place you would want to live would be to have all the conveniences of the world, and guess what? I live at the beach. So, yeah, there's something to be desired there. But what happens is when you have a program that you, the taxpayers, pay for that subsidizes these homes, should something happen to them, like, I don't know, let's say a hurricane or a tropical storm, and half of Cape Hatteras gets washed off the map, or half of Florida gets wiped out, tons of really, really expensive houses. Well, the taxpayers end up paying for it.
Right. So you've got a story from Fox Business about this flood insurance problem. Apparently, they're about to run out of money or something?
Well, that's part of it. I've got a couple stories on it, but we'll start off with the Fox Business story, and it just basically says government flood insurance on the brink after Harvey, former FEMA director says. And that's not a new story because the federal flood insurance program has been on the brink for several years. So this is by Julie Limitone. As Harvey begins to wind down, 30,000 to 40,000 homes in the Houston region have been demolished by record rainfall and devastating flooding, according to Harris County officials who estimate damage has surpassed $20 billion so far.
I saw an estimate earlier today that put it between 50 to 75 billion.
Yeah.
And
what was that number?
Between 50 billion to 75 billion, with a B. And to sort of, put into scope how much rain they've had, because I know I've heard people throw out numbers, but we're talking about like an average year's worth of rain for some of these areas in the span of less than a week.
Right. And
that's a lot of rain. What was the number you had told me earlier? Your friend, you've got a friend that lives down in that area. They got like 49 inches of rain.
And that was like as of Monday since Thursday or something like that.
I heard there was another hurricane that's like a Category 2 or something now floating around down there?
It could be.
Off the shore?
They do that. Some years it's slower and some it's a little busier. And, the fact that we're now into, almost into September and we haven't had a real major landfall hurricane, that's kind of good.
When was the last time you remember, one up in this general area?
Well, I mean, for that general area, they had something in 2009. I can't remember the name of it. And, of course, we had Katrina in 2005.
Right. And this was the strongest hurricane to make landfall in the U.S. since 2005.
Since Katrina.
Houston and, that area had not had a hurricane of, this magnitude in 50-something years.
Yeah.
Since 1961, I think it was.
Yeah, it goes back a long ways. The story continues. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, says 80% of homeowners in Houston are without flood insurance, and the program has $5.8 billion left in borrowing funds. For the uninsured, this means funding will have to come straight from the federal government, according to former FEMA Director Joe Albaugh, who appeared on Fox Business on Thursday. Quote, "The flood insurance program has been underfunded for years, and it's about to crash as a result of this," unquote.
All right, so hold on. I've got a question here. And, this might be something you don't have the answer to, but running numbers in my head here, 80% of the homeowners in the area did not have flood insurance. And then the article says that means the funding will come straight from the federal government. Why will the federal government just be handing out money to people that did not have flood insurance?
Because that's what the federal government does in these examples. So some will say this is one of those things that government is good about. When an area is struck with disaster, when people's lives are pretty much wiped out, then the federal government will come in and provide. They will pay for rebuilding. They will pay to all these projects that are you're talking about water and sewer systems that are going to have to be rebuilt. Those are expensive. Road work that's going to need to be done. These are all going to be provided for through federal government grants. So, you're going to have a couple days here while everybody sort of settles, and then one of the first activities that's going to start occurring is federal grant writing. People in these areas starting to write the justifications for why they need federal money to flow to them.
And now, one thing that's sort of interesting about this entire thing is that regular homeowner insurance does not cover flooding, is my understanding.
Well, it really doesn't anymore, and that was not always the case. Homeowners insurance used to cover some flooding. So, and I'm going to really insult my own credibility here, and I'm going to quote a little bit from Wikipedia because I tried to get a little bit more background on the history of the flood insurance program. And according to the article I was reading, before 1950, most homeowners insurance plans did have coverage for flooding. But as homes began to be built bigger and more opulent, it became very cost prohibitive. So, if you wanted to build on the beach, well, that was going to cost a whole lot of money for you to insure that through your insurance company.
And your calls and thoughts are welcome. 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. Now, Heather, you used to actually sell insurance. Mm-hmm. Did you ever do any homeowners insurance stuff? Do you know anything about this?
I did. I know that in Massachusetts, where I was on the Cape, pretty much everybody's in a flood zone. You might as well be.
Right.
I think it was nowhere on the Cape you're a mile from a beach.
Right.
So I never actually did much, even though I worked with the homeowners insurance. I never wrote any homeowners policies,
mm-hmm.
but I'm pretty sure there was only a handful of companies that would insure just over the bridge. The majority of the Cape, I think, had to go through the government.
Yep.
Let's continue with this article.
As far as flood insurance.
Yeah. And we'll talk a little bit more about the history because this is kind of good. In the 1960s, it says that flood insurance became unprofitable because the cost of homes was going up. And so private companies just began to not offer flood insurance any longer. At that point, and it ended up being the National Flood Insurance Act of 1968, was when we got this federal insurance program. So again, going back to, we were talking a little bit before about John Stossel's special a few years back about flood insurance and how he had a home that was was it in Florida or in North Carolina?
I think it was on the Gulf. Might not have been Florida. Could have been, the Alabama and Mississippi both have a little bit of Gulf.
But here's the catch. If your house gets wiped out and federal flood insurance covers it and rebuilds it, well, you can just stay right there and you can wait for the next one to wipe it out again.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
So when we brought him home, we didn't realize that Bear, the rescue dog, was actually sick. He had very flaky skin. He was dropping a lot of fur. The vet wanted to do steroid injections, special dog food. Nothing seemed to work. So I've been hearing Dinovite on the radio for years.
PD stopped eating. All his hair fell out.
Itching, licking, missing fur.
DINOVITE.com. 859-428-1000.
And then it finally sunk in. Oh, you're talking about hair and skin. And all right, I'll try it. Well, it took probably 6 weeks, but after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin. He doesn't scratch and itch, and he started to put weight on. It was awesome.
Dinovite is nutrition.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days. I wish that we would have started the Dinovite right away. It would have been so much easier.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
Does the current world crisis in North Korea or our domestic crisis right here in America concern you? Well, I know it concerns me. My friends over at Legacy Food Storage have solutions in the event there's the inevitable. What's the inevitable? Civil unrest, a run on your local grocery store. And here's my question to you. If this happens, how do you feed your children? How do you feed your grandchildren? Legacy Food Storage has the solutions. In fact, they can help you implement a simple plan to take care of your needs in the event of the inevitable. By calling them right now, I have authorized them to give you a special 20% discount at checkout by simply using GCN. Call 888-543-7345 or visit them at legacyfoodstorage.com. That's 888-543-7345 or visiting them at legacyfoodstorage.com. Make sure you use GCN at checkout for an incredible 20% discount. Don't be a victim. Take control of your life now.
I just heard the best sales pitch I've heard in a long time on an airplane. The flight attendant announced, "If you paid more than $75 for your round-trip ticket, you overpaid." This is brilliant because everybody on the flight paid more, and I was struck by how all the road warriors stopped typing and reading and working and looked up. The announcement invited us to apply for the airline's credit card, and the sign-up bonus, enough frequent flyer miles for a free round trip. Talk about turning lemons into lemonade. With some banks offering free credit cards, $75 is an outrage for an annual fee, but a bargain for airline tickets. For more tips on communicating more effectively, hit survivalspeech.com, where you can see how I got the CEO of another major airline to shower me with freebies. I'm Holland Cook.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people exchanging skills and services, from web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We'll get back into the discussion here about the federal government's flood insurance program that, surprise, surprise, as with a bunch of federal government things, they're almost bankrupt. But something that's not bankrupt is Bitcoin. And now you can mine Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com. And you can forget about the cost, the constant equipment upgrades, and the maintenance. You can, mine Bitcoin the same way that Ian and Mark do by going to pool.bitcoin.com. And you're basically, chipping in on someone else's equipment. There's a 100% uptime guarantee. The website is easy to use, and you can even calculate what you might make right on that website, pool.bitcoin.com. Not just that, but you also help steer Bitcoin towards the liberating currency that Satoshi Nakamoto meant it to be. You're not just making money at pool.bitcoin.com. You're doing activism while you sleep. pool.bitcoin.com.
Yeah, I have a random question.
Go ahead.
Who actually created the first Bitcoin? Who's
Satoshi Nakamoto, who is an anonymous person that nobody knows who exactly he or she is.
So I read an article saying that the NSA knows. Did you see this headline?
I have not seen that headline, but I've seen, over the last 5 years or so, I've seen a bunch of different. We know who this is, and then it's just some random guy that gets harassed.
Yeah, or a guy named Satoshi Nakamoto. In the case in California.
Well, no, the one guy, it wasn't even Satoshi, it was Dorian Nakamoto.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's happened, and then people that I'm friends with on Facebook have been accused of being Satoshi Nakamoto. This article basically said that the NSA, that this reporter, I think with Wired, I'll dig up the story, but it was kind of interesting that they're just we absolutely know who it is. And it's not a mystery to us, and we don't care, so. But either way, so let's talk about flood insurance. Anyway,
yes,
because always fun.
That really matters. Who the identity of or the identities of Satoshi Nakamoto really doesn't matter.
But it's intriguing.
It is.
I get it. I mean,
it's such especially with the price of it now. You know what I mean? It's wow, man, who's to thank for all that?
And do they still have his address, his wallet address? I'll have to dig that one up. I was looking at the
if you go
wealthiest.
back, because the entire blockchain is viewable. So if you go back and you look at the very first block to be mined,
known as the Genesis block,
correct, you will see because it's the first. You will see that first wallet that received Bitcoin. There has never been a transaction going outbound from that wallet.
Right.
And, one thing that I think really separates Bitcoin from all of the other cryptocurrencies, or rather, I should say, a lot of the other cryptocurrencies, is with Bitcoin, it's not sort of a cult of personality thing. There are some of the other cryptos to where, it's kind of, here's the guy that created it, and everybody's just hanging on his every word. And there was one of the cryptos, I think it was last year, where there was a report that the guy had died, and then just everybody sold off the crypto and the price just plummeted. And then oh wait, no, he's alive, that was a hoax, and then the price jumped back up. So with Bitcoin, it really doesn't matter, and I think it's actually better that we don't know who the creator was.
It is kind of cool.
Because then it prevents Bitcoin from being that cult of personality thing.
Right.
So let's get back into this FEMA flood insurance.
We'll talk flood insurance, but I will say this: Bitcoin has created its own mass of cults of personality. They're everywhere you turn. So back to flood insurance. And we were talking about a quote from let me find
FEMA Director Joe Albach.
Right, who basically says that it's been underfunded for years and it's about to crash as a result.
It being the federal flood insurance program.
Yep.
That is basically the only flood insurance that you can get.
That's it. And it's about to crash as a result of all the claims that are likely to come in from Harvey. So in Albach's opinion, the flood insurance program should not be under the jurisdiction of the federal government, and I'll go on the record and say I agree. Quote, it's akin to Obamacare. The government comes in, takes over. In order to make it somewhat sustainable, they have to raise the premiums, and we can't continue doing this. It needs to be in the private sector, he said.
Now, one thing that I think is kind of different, and I'm in no way defending either the federal flood insurance program or Obamacare, officially called the Patient Protection Affordable Care Act, I don't think, and of course I wasn't alive in 1968, and Chris, I don't think you were either, or if you were like one.
Of course I was, Darryl.
But I seriously doubt that when they were passing this federal flood program that they said, if you like your flood insurance provider, you can keep it.
No, the issue then was providers weren't providing it. That insurance companies just said, this is a losing situation. If you build your house on the beach in South Florida where they get hit every couple years by hurricanes, I'm sorry, we're not going to insure that house for flooding. We will continue to insure it against wind damage because that's not nearly as catastrophic, right?
Right.
And that's relatively affordable, and they could justify doing that. But flood, it couldn't be justified. So by bringing in this federal program, we have encouraged people, and my friends at home, you are subsidizing those wealthy people that have those lovely houses out there on the beach. You are paying for them time and time again. Every time one of them gets wiped out, and even if they never get wiped out, you are subsidizing the cost of their insurance through this program.
Let me play devil's advocate,
please,
here for a moment, and ask, well, what about the person that lives in Houston? Houston, not on the Gulf.
No.
There's like some kind of bay or inlet sort of thing. I forget the exact term.
That's correct.
But there is some kind of body of water, but it's not exactly the Gulf. It's not exactly the coast. And again, they've not had one of these really bad hurricanes in 50 years, so this is not like a regular occurrence there. Should those people be subsidized, or should there actually be like a free market determined rate on what their flood insurance is?
I think they should have to go to the free market for flood insurance. And to put that in perspective, because it's not like right on Galveston Bay, it's not right on the Gulf. It's got an altitude of 80 feet. So you also have a river that comes up through Galveston, or up through Houston. So as a storm surge comes in, that changes the lay of the land completely. The point is if you live in high-risk areas, expect to pay higher premiums. Unless, of course, Uncle Sam steps in and makes it all better for you.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Are you looking to become more self-sufficient? Then you need to have your own energy source. The SolarArc EMP hardened generator is automatic, maintenance-free, and reduces your monthly electric bill. You can also take it off-grid when you go camping. Contact PortableSolarLLC.com or call for details at 972-575-8875 today. Portable Solar LLC gives you everything you need to start using solar energy in less than 1 hour. SolarArc EMP hardened solar generator energy insurance for your family or business. Call Portable Solar LLC today.
You want to save money in a place that gives you growth, control, and certainty without stock market risk or tax risk, and you want guarantees and you want it all tax-free. That's a tall order. But you can get all of that with properly designed participating whole life insurance. Most people think life insurance pays after you're dead. That's true. But you can have tax-free access to use your life insurance while you're alive. Get the free book to find out how. Call 702-660-7000.
Free Talk Live.
What's the difference between a stoplight and a school bus?
A stoplight is a light, and a school bus is a school bus.
Full of children.
Right. So
That's a good
the light
lad.
doesn't have any kids in it.
That's what you call a derelict, educated derelict.
yeah,
You gotta come out of Harvard.
I'm really not a derelict. I work for a
You
living.
are an educated derelict. Well, you
Barbara,
know what?
I agree with
Have
you.
fun, play your games.
No.
You're a
Because I'll tell you
fornicator,
what,
Mark.
When
Barbara.
you pass that next red light, I sure hope they get you good. Now,
Barbara,
hope you don't kill anybody.
I'm agreeing with you.
Oh, she hung up on you, Mark.
But I agree with you, Barbara. I was telling you that I agree with you, except for the stoplight thing.
Children, Mark. There's children around. At every red light, you could possibly kill someone.
This, by the way, gentlemen.
If you would run a red light at 3 in the morning when there's no traffic as far as the eye can see, then you would just as soon run over a school bus and kill all the kids inside.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And we've been discussing federal flood insurance and the fact that that program that's been around since the 1960s is, surprise, surprise, almost bankrupt. Now, I'm curious why they didn't do for flood insurance what they did with, or claimed that they were going to do with Social Security, and that is put it inside of a lockbox.
A lockbox.
Do you remember that back in like the late 90s, 2000 presidential election?
Vice President Al Gore.
We're going to put it in a lockbox.
Oh, God.
Wait, say life is like a box of chocolates, Darryl.
Right. So
it was.
Al Gore,
No, you just sounded like,
during the 2000 presidential election, he started sounding like Forrest Gump.
He was channeling Forrest Gump.
But can you say it for me real quick, Darryl?
Life is like a box of chocolates.
Lockbox. Yeah, it was completely
Social Security
absurd.
is a lockbox of chocolates that somebody already ate all of the chocolates out of.
All right, so to your question, the answer of why don't they have a lockbox? Because the federal government has determined that whatever amount of money in there is enough, because the federal government realizes that if it runs out of money, then they'll just take it from somewhere else. And
or
that's what they do. Or
print
they
the money,
more money or
just
tax
call,
you.
Call up Janet Yellen and say, hey, roll off another $1 trillion for us.
We got a hurricane to take care of.
QE, which number of quantitative easing are we on now? Like 704?
Allegedly, now we're starting to move things off of the balance sheet. That's how Yellen talks about reducing the amount of outstanding money. They're moving things off the Fed's balance sheet now.
So does that mean that they're selling off assets, or they're just moving it off of the balance sheets?
They're basically moving...
Because those are two different things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're not keeping records anymore.
But if you're the chairman of the Fed, you can't say anything that's likely to panic anyone, God forbid. So we're moving things off of the balance sheet just basically means that in some cases they're turning some of that debt back over to sit on the government as opposed to sit on the Federal Reserve.
It's kind of like in Venezuela, and we've discussed Venezuela a good bit, not going to get deeply into that, but about a year and a half ago, the Venezuelan central government just stopped calculating inflation.
Right.
They're not saying, oh, yeah, inflation is zero. They've just stopped calculating inflation.
Yeah.
So, it could be a similar sort of thing there with Janet Yellen. Let's go to the phones. Again, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Joe calling in from Chattanooga. Joe, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Good evening, Darryl, Chris, Heather. I was just calling with an update about one Christopher Cantwell. As I'm sure all of you are aware, he was arrested for the pepper spray charge.
Can you speak up just a little bit, Joe?
Yeah, a little soft.
Yeah, is that any better?
Yep, perfect.
Yeah, go ahead.
And yes, we are aware of him.
As I'm sure you all are aware, he was arrested last week and charged in connection with the pepper spray incident down in Charlottesville.
Yep.
He had his bail hearing today, and he was actually offered a $25,000 bail, easy $2,500 bond. Seemed like Chris was going to get out. Unfortunately, at 3 p.m., the prosecutor appealed the decision based on quotes from the Vice documentary, an obviously edited documentary. And as of about 45 minutes ago, he has been denied bail altogether.
Wow. So was the grounds, likelihood to commit acts of violence if he was released, or...
At this point, I can't find any information other than the fact that they played the tapes from the Vice documentary in the courtroom about whether or not the actions of the man in the car were justified. And I really can't see anything other than this man being a political prisoner at this point. The prosecutor in that county, a guy by the name of Robert Tracy, is actually putting out information on his personal Facebook page in connection with the Heather Heyer case. Now, how that's not grounds for this man to recuse himself is just beyond me.
Yeah.
But I was hoping to get your all's thoughts. I mean, I know people up in New Hampshire and everywhere for that matter have strong feelings about Cantwell. But as libertarians, I would hope that you would be able to step back and kind of look at things, I don't know, with a little less statist view.
No, I know where you're going with this, and I'm only speaking for myself here and nobody else and anything. I find the things that Chris Cantwell says repugnant. They offend me to my core. I don't believe any of the crap that comes out of his mouth. It's disheartening to me because I knew him when he wasn't quite that person. So there's not really a good thing I could come up with saying to say anything positive about Chris at this point in his life.
How did you find this out?
Hold on, let me finish.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were...
He absolutely has the right to freedom of speech. He absolutely has the right to the same bail should be applied to everyone. It looked to me like a lot of people in the alt-right also got maced. What I'm not reading about in the news is all the trials that are going on against the folks with Antifa or Black Lives Matter who were down there, or Charleston or Charlottesville residents or whoever it was that maced these people. So I think it's just wrong. Personally, I have a problem with money bail anyway. But that's just me.
Did they say like did they play the whole Vice documentary, or what exactly was it that the prosecutor played in order to swing the appeal?
My understanding is it was a quote that was taken, of course, out of context. I'll clean it up for radio. We'll effing kill these people if we have to, he told reporter Elle Reed in that interview. When she asked him about the next alt-right rally, he said, it's going to be really tough to top, but we're up to the challenge. I think a lot more people are going to die before we're done, frankly.
Yeah.
And that was the quote that was given in the courtroom.
Those are all incendiary quotes, and that's what Chris has been spewing.
And you said, Joe, that that quote was taken out of context. I don't know what context that quote could be in where it doesn't sound like he's trying to be violent.
It's no different than the guys in the military going over to Iraq or Afghanistan saying we're gonna if we go over there and we're attacked or whatever. I mean, I don't agree with anything Chris Cantwell says as far as the racism and bigotry, but I think it's pretty obvious that the majority of the people down in Charlottesville, I mean, they applied for a permit, for crying out loud, to have their little gathering. They were doing everything by the book. As much as you don't like the actual words that were coming out of their mouth, they did it all legally. You know what I mean? They applied for the permit with the town.
Hitting people over the head with tiki torches and pepper spraying people is not allowed with a permit.
I think all violence is wrong, and there's violence on both sides, though. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, okay, if someone's going to have a birthday party and you don't like the kid that's having the birthday party, and you show up at his birthday party and, you guys go toe-to-toe. It's like, is anybody really the winner? Is anybody really right or righteous? You know what I mean? Can you really give anybody – is anyone – to blame? And is this necessarily it's kind of like it's a fight, right? It's people throwing jabs at the right and at the left, and both are hating each other the more a jab gets thrown, and it's just a back and forth cycle.
And it was basically, to me, two groups of statists fighting each other. I mean, both of them see the government as a solution, so.
No. It is kind of ironic, right? They both have these issues, but neither one of them are actually changing society for the better. They're both making it worse. So, I mean, it's unfortunate, but I do think that the whole bail thing is a little messed up.
Go ahead, Joe.
I do have an answer to your question, Darryl, about how those words could possibly be put in a different context.
All right, hold that thought. We'll bring you back, and your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. What are your thoughts on people saying violent things? Are those words taken out of context, or is there any good context for that? This is Free Talk Live.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people exchanging skills and services, from web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
Are you tired of paying fees and commissions to that other site? I know you are. And I'm here to tell you about a great alternative to sell your stuff. BuySellMakeOffer.com is the best-selling site to ever come along. It doesn't matter what you're selling, big or small, it's easier than ever. And you can use Skype to show your items and get to know your potential buyer, and they can see that you are for real. No more blind trust. And you're not limited to snapshots. You can video what you're selling to better sell it fast. For as little as $9.95, and that's after a free 30 days, you can sell everything you no longer want with absolutely no fees, ever. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and become part of a community of buyers and sellers who have already discovered this revolutionary way of getting it sold online. That's buysellmakeoffer.com. You'll never regret making the switch. Buysellmakeoffer.com. So, what are you waiting for?
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Are you sick of government lackeys who say you didn't build that? Are you tired of elitists who think you need a government permission slip for everything? Everything you do is an A to B conversation, and the government should see their way out of it. Create true free markets by adopting the BIPCOT No Government License. The BIPCOT No-Gov license allows use or modification of any product, service, or software except by governments or government agents. Go to bipcot.org. That's Bravo, India, Papa, Charlie, Oscar, Tango.org.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And how would you like to save 5, 10, 15, 20% or more on things that you were going to buy anyway? You can do that when you go to saveatpurse.com. Now, if you want these bigger savings, you also need to have an Amazon account. You put things in your Amazon wish list. You then import the wish list into that account that you've created at saveatpurse.com. Select your discount, and then you fund the account. You fund the account using Bitcoin or a few other cryptocurrencies using the Shapeshift integration. And then you wait. Sometimes it's a couple days. Sometimes it's just a couple of hours for somebody to say, yep, I will fulfill this order. You then get the items delivered to your doorstep. And then when they arrive, you go back to saveatpurse.com, click items delivered. And then the person that bought the items for you gets your Bitcoin. Saveatpurse.com. We go back to the phones. We've got Joe calling in from Chattanooga and asked a question about what we thought about Christopher Cantwell being denied bail. And there was a point that Joe wanted to make about some of the quotes that were, he says, taken out of context from Chris Cantwell that were used during the hearing to deny bail. And
well, he was granted bail, though, right? Originally.
Initially,
Granted.
right. So last week when he had his arraignment, there was no discussion of bail, apparently because at the time he did not have a lawyer. He did not realize that he had to request bail. He then requested a bail hearing. That hearing was this morning. He was initially given $25,000 bail. The prosecutor immediately appealed. There was a hearing later this afternoon, 3 o'clock. And then at that appeal hearing that's the hearing that Joe's talking about, where the prosecutor used some quotes from Cantwell that, Joe, you're alleging were out of context, and I just wanted to give you time to respond to say how you thought these quotes could be in context to make it sound like Chris was not a violent person.
Well, first off, Darryl, you summed that up perfectly, and thank you for holding me over.
You're welcome.
It's really easy to explain how this is out of context. A lot of things can be said about Cantwell. He's done a lot of really stupid things. The biggest thing that he did that was a mistake was dealing with this L individual from Vice, aside from going down to the rally to begin with. He had a pretty good feeling that his words were going to be contorted, that he did a 3-hour-long interview with this lady. I'm sure you're familiar. He has a podcast. I won't plug it on your show, but anybody who is interested can go to his podcast and download the episode from August the 14th. It is the complete 3-hour interview where all of these quotes are put into context. Yes, Chris did say more people will probably die before it's all done. The context in that is that they were not going to stand by and be assaulted, that they would defend themselves. He said on multiple occasions during that interview that he was not there for violence, that they initiated no violence, but they would protect themselves and his people if need be. All of that was cut out of the Vice documentary, and a documentary is being used as evidence in a court of law to deny a man who has said some very questionable things bail.
I mean, there was a senator from, I forget what state she was in, but she literally said somebody needs to assassinate the president. But this woman, my guess, is still walking around free while Chris Cantwell's.
Well, she was investigated by the
she was. I know she was
Service.
asked to resign or something, right? She was asked to step down, and I mean, so I do think that people say all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, does Chris Cantwell really? Does he pose that much of a threat?
But again, he's not in jail for things that he said. The charges are illegal use of tear gas and malicious bodily injury.
Right. So on that, again, I don't think there ever should have been the confrontation down there that occurred anyway, because like I said, I believe in freedom of speech, even if it's horrendous speech, even if it's speech that makes my stomach churn. People still have a right to say it, and I have a right not to listen to it. That's fine.
Right.
There's so much stuff.
You had two groups that came together just basically to get in each other's face.
They both sides appeared to be looking for a fight, and they found one.
It was like Mayweather and McGregor, but
my question regarding the charges is like I said, I thought I saw watching videos, and it wasn't just the Vice video or that, but it looked like both sides were using tear gas. Both sides were spraying.
Right. And my guess is that, much like the pumpkin riots, and Joe, thank you for the call, much like the pumpkin riots that happened here in Keene a couple of years ago.
Question.
Well, we've got another caller, so I don't want to spend too much time on this before getting to the next call. But, the pumpkin riots that happened here in Keene, New Hampshire a couple of years ago, it took several months of investigating the video to try to identify people.
Who did
so when
what?
you've got somebody that's featured in a documentary and then featured in a video of pepper spraying and hitting someone in the back of the head, it's pretty easy to identify that person.
Fairly clear. Yeah,
wait, what was that? Maybe you can refresh my memory. What was he saying about some conflict of interest?
Something about the prosecutor said something, but prosecutors work for the police department in a lot of cases. The judge works for the state government. The entire, criminal justice system that we have is a huge, giant conflict of interest.
Right.
So, the fact that this prosecutor said something,
though, Darryl? Like, as far as do you think they're right in denying Cantwell bail?
I've not read the judge's ruling. So I'm not going to make a decision, but I could see an argument, and I'm not necessarily, saying this was what was said by either the judge or the prosecutor, because, again, I've not read the judge's decision, but I could see an argument of he's a potential flight risk because he doesn't live around Virginia. He lives completely out of state. He's facing up to 10 years in jail.
Yeah.
But he turned himself in, though. He turned himself in.
Yeah. And I'm still opposed to the whole idea of cash bail. So he lives in a different state. So the local cops pick him up and ship him back down. I mean, this happens all the time. So, again, I don't want to defend anything Chris says by any stretch, but I don't think that it's right that we basically hold people hostage for cash, deny them their freedom, and before they've had a trial on what they're actually charged for, they can spend months in jail. Right. And I don't agree with that.
Let's go to Skype, where we've got Stefan calling in from Ohio. Stefan, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
I'd like to talk about something that I like to call Ron Paul syndrome.
Okay, you're going to have to define that because I have no clue what it is.
Basically, in 2012 and even 2008, you'll notice a lot of the media ignored Ron Paul as a candidate and almost never mentioned him.
He wasn't the only candidate that wound up being, quote unquote, ignored by the media.
But that said, there was definitely a bias against him. I'm sure you would agree with that.
Yeah, and you could argue that there was a bias against a bunch of the candidates. There were 31 candidates on the Republican primary ballot in New Hampshire, and only 15 of them ever wound up in one of the, big boy debates that aired on, quote unquote, mainstream media. So there were a bunch of people that got ignored. So why are you calling it the Ron Paul syndrome?
But I'm going to go on the record and say I know what you're talking about, Stefan.
Yeah, I do too.
Go ahead.
Well, it had come to my attention because today The Hill had put out an article. I'm sure you've heard of Claire McCaskill in Missouri, who is the Democratic senator.
Yes.
And this article had mentioned that she had no challengers yet, when in reality she already did have a challenger, Austin Peterson. Do you think that's very dishonest of them not to mention him?
Well, there are actually, I believe, at least 2 Republicans that have thrown their hat into the ring for the Republican nomination. There's at least 3 Libertarians that have thrown their hat into the ring, but there's nobody challenging her for the Democratic Party nomination. So depending on how this article was worded, it could be a factual statement.
Where was this article from again?
The Hill. It said, this is the exact quote, McCaskill faces re-election, and while she doesn't have a GOP opponent yet, the 2-term senator is one of only a few remaining statewide Democratic office holders in Missouri.
Technically, that is a correct statement because the Republican Party has not made their nominations yet. That happens next year during their primary. I'll hold you over and see where you're going with this. Your calls and thoughts welcome on the Ron Paul effect of media ignoring certain candidates or whatever is on your mind. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
When I get to about 3/4, when I get down to the bottom, a couple more scoops, it's time to place my order. Dynovite.com.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of NomoFlea free.
NomoFlea flea spray kills fleas safely with no poison.
Because it's a polypeptide protein molecule made from
vegetable oil.
Try NomoFlea.
Free this week at Dynovite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dynovite. DINOVITE.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, August 31st, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.37 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,306 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,707. Antiwar.com reports, according to U.S. Central Command, U.S. warplanes attacked a major east-west highway in Syria on Wednesday to prevent a Red Crescent-led evacuation program, which was taking the Islamic State fighters and civilians out of the Syria-Lebanon border area of Deir ez-Zor under a ceasefire deal. After the Islamic State lost most of its territory in the border region, they negotiated an evacuation deal with the militaries involved. The U.S. insists it was not a party to the deal and felt justified attacking the highway to stop the convoy as a result. The buses are said to contain 308 militants and 331 civilians. The U.S. insists that the convoy was not directly attacked because of the number of women and children inside, but that they do insist on all of the militants being killed instead of delivered to Deir ez-Zor. On the other hand, the convoy is now effectively stuck smack in the middle of Syria with no easy way to move on to their intended destinations. CENTCOM spokesman Colonel Ryan Dillon insisted the convoy is still being monitored and that the U.S. would not rule out attacking the buses in the future if they believe it's appropriate to do so. Colonel Dillon went on to slam Russia, who appears wholly uninvolved with this whole evacuation process. He said the fact that Russia did not actively prevent the convoy from leaving proved that they aren't serious about fighting the Islamic State. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the top 3 U.S. airlines met with Secretary of State Rex Tillerson on Wednesday to ask for help competing with state-owned airline companies in the Middle East that they say are unfairly subsidized. Etihad Airways and Emirates Airlines are each owned by the United Arab Emirates, while Qatar Airways is owned by the Qatari government. And the CEOs of Delta Airlines, American Airlines, and United Airlines argue that those airlines receive massive unfair state subsidies, which is not allowed under their International Open Skies Agreement. The 3 U.S. airline companies have been making allegations about unfair subsidies for years, while the Middle Eastern airlines have repeatedly denied them. Not all airlines from the U.S. are on the side of the big 3 companies. Hawaiian Airlines and JetBlue Airways have said they don't want to renegotiate the Open Skies Agreement, and FedEx also has opposed the measure because it has a major shipping hub in Dubai that operates under the same agreement. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports Tropical Storm Harvey spun across southeast Texas into Louisiana on Wednesday, sending more people fleeing for shelter after swamping Houston with record rains and flooding that killed at least 25 people and drove tens of thousands from their homes. The slow-moving storm has forced at least 30,000 people to seek shelter since coming ashore on Friday near Corpus Christi, Texas, as the most powerful hurricane to hit Texas in more than half a century. On Wednesday, it pummeled a stretch of coast from Port Arthur, Texas to Lake Charles, Louisiana. Among the latest deaths reported were 2 people who drowned while driving through high water near Simonton, Texas, about 40 miles west of Houston. Houston's KHOU-TV reported that an infant girl was swept away by floodwaters as her parents were driving from Houston towards Louisiana on Highway 150. Police in Harris County, home to Houston, said 17 people remained missing. Busloads of people fleeing floodwaters around Port Arthur arrived in Lake Charles, joining local residents who had already packed into shelters to escape waterlogged homes. Moody's Analytics is estimating the economic cost from Harvey for Southeast Texas is between $51 to $75 billion. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said the worst is not yet over for Southeast Texas as far as the rain is concerned. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Republicans back a plan for universal lawn care. And an RC car works up the courage to approach a group of girls. And now a recap of the week's news for those who like to waste their summers surfing the internet. Fall, the long-running series of shorter days and cooler nights, was canceled this week after nearly 3 billion seasons on Earth. The classic period of the year, which once occupied the coveted slot between summer and winter, will be replaced by new stifling humidity levels and near-constant sunshine. A shiny, bobbing object in the water is generating fascination among members of the fish community, who have described it as pleasingly wiggly and minnow-esque. Aquatic experts say that decisive action must be taken against the object very soon. In local news, just when 27-year-old Andrew Sheets didn't think his vacation could get any better, a rerun of Spin City came on. And in other headlines, a bee stuck between the screen and front door is going nuts. And a water skier lets go of the crossbar to greet those not currently water skiing.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, kicking off hour number 2. In studio, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And we've got Stefan from Ohio still on with us via Skype. Called in about an article that he had read from thehill.com where apparently at one point in time the article stated Claire McCaskill had no GOP opponent. I'm reading an article here, and it does have a note down at the bottom that says this story has been updated to note that Austin Peterson is running for the Republican nomination. But Stefan was trying to make some kind of point about media sometimes ignoring certain candidates. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. Stefan, continue with your thoughts.
I had no idea the article had been updated. When I had it on my screen, it said that she had no opponents. But what you had said was technically there are no GOP challengers because nobody has been nominated. Well, I think most people would say that if somebody is running in a primary or throwing their hat in the ring, they are a potential challenger.
I'd agree with that.
Everybody's looking at the Attorney General of the state, I believe, Josh Hawley, I think his name is, to get in. And I think that if he was in the race, they would acknowledge him instantly as being a challenger, even if he were not the nominee yet.
Right.
Well, the media always picks favorites. We all know that.
Yeah, and also the reality is in every state there are people that are names, and maybe Josh Hawley is a name there.
If he's the current state attorney general, yep.
He's probably got some name. It's probably more of a big deal. Where Austin may be less so. But I don't
Austin's running as a Republican, right?
Yeah.
I think,
yes.
Yeah.
But I don't disagree with you. I do believe that there is a Ron Paul effect sometimes where they just sort of the media dismisses out of hand.
Right, and we even noticed that last year here in New Hampshire where Ian Freeman, who's the creator of this radio show, was running in the Democratic Party primary for governor. And he was largely ignored by most of the media.
There
was a debate where Ian and one other guy, Derek Dextrays, of the 5 candidates that filed, they were the only 2 to accept the invitation, but because none of the, like big name candidates accepted the invitation. The debate did not happen. And the local newspaper that was organizing this event, they put out an editorial just blasting the candidates for refusing to show up to a debate. WMUR, which is the TV station in New Hampshire, had a debate. And they did not invite Ian or Derek Dextrays. And when Ian called up WMUR to find out why he wasn't invited, they said, oh, well, you didn't send us this info and this and that. And he said, well, actually, I've got emails where I did send you info. And they said, oh, well, reasons.
That's so weird. Do you think it's just like... Because I know in Massachusetts, we had ran some libertarian candidates, and I was told when I ran back in 2014 that like a lot of times libertarians don't get invited to the debates or whatever.
Sure.
I got invited to 6.
Wow.
I got invited to all 6 in my district, and I ran for state senate. So I don't know if it's just like maybe like they pick and choose how that happens.
Everywhere in the country. It depends on your local press.
Plus, the local media has a lot to do with it. So if you're running for state representative in the city of Boston, I don't know how many state rep districts they have in Boston, but chances are they're not going to invite everybody that's running for every district in Boston to some televised debate. They'll, use some kind of criteria.
Right. And the press has the right to do that. I mean, it's their debate. They can do it however they want. Which is why a lot of people are kind of fed up with mainstream media and fed up with the press.
But do you think that could influence an election? Because I'm sure a lot of people...
Of course it influences elections.
I mean, Gary was denied access to the presidential debates. There's no doubt, like, having worked on that campaign, I can tell you we had a ton of big money donors that were basically refusing to pledge forth any money unless Gary got into those debates. So if we'd have gotten Gary into those debates, we would have had a ton of money. Not only would we have the recognition that comes with being in the presidential debates, but we would have had a ton of money to do so much more advertising nationwide because people weren't willing to put their money and their re-elections and their names on the line to back somebody that couldn't get in the big debates.
I'll go one further, Stefan. I'll say it's by design. I mean, this isn't a shock, right?
But what I'm saying is I'm sure a lot of people in Missouri would probably like to vote for Austin. But if they don't even know Austin is a candidate, then how the heck are they supposed to know who to vote for?
Well, there are nonpartisan voter guides that are put out by organizations such as the League of Women Voters. There's the website Vote Smart where they list all of the candidates. There are places where people can find information on the candidates.
There are, but I don't disagree with either Heather or with Stefan that you have the machine, which oftentimes
working
the media
against you.
You're right. The machine works against these smaller candidates that may have messages that aren't suitable for consumption by the mass public. So says the powers that be. And if they wish to squash candidates before they can even get off the ground, they can do it. They can do it through the press. They can do it all sorts of different ways.
Well, that's what that's what I think we'll know in a few months if there are any debates in Missouri for the primary, whether we'll know if there's any bias, whether Austin's invited or not. But, should there be criteria? Of course. I believe there should be criteria for
the criteria should be, are you a declared candidate? That's it. Like, that should be the... are you eligible to hold the office?
Yeah.
And are you a declared candidate? Those should be the criteria.
Darryl, I remember you had a write-in campaign and you were a declared candidate and you were eligible to hold the office. Do you think you should have been invited to the presidential debates?
For presidential debates, I think a candidate should be an eligible candidate on enough states to theoretically win the Electoral College. So the fact that I was not... a write-in candidate in a certain number of states? No, I don't think I should have been in the general election debates.
Okay, thanks for the clarification. Thanks for taking my call, guys.
Yep,
no worries.
Thanks, Stephen.
Take care.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450 free. Let's go to Tom calling in from Fort Mojave, Arizona. Tom, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey guys, how you doing tonight?
Doing well. Can you back off of your phone about half an inch?
Okie dokie, how's that?
Better.
Yep, better. Go ahead.
Okay, I've been sitting back here listening to people talk about this thing and the other thing and that thing, but you know what? Nobody has said nothing bad about Black Lives Matter. Nobody. Other than cops die when they end up going to their town.
I've heard a bunch of people say bad things about Black Lives Matter activists. I've heard a bunch of people say bad things about Antifa activists.
I'm one of those people.
Them people there, they're nuts. They don't even, they shouldn't even say anything about them. Maybe they just plain go away.
I don't think anybody disagrees with the cause, and that the justice system is broken in America and there's a lack of police accountability. I mean, that's something we can all agree on fundamentally.
I think that's something that a lot of people can agree on, but the people that think cops can do no wrong would adamantly disagree with what you're saying.
No, I don't. I don't think that at all, and I never thought that. And I'm 65 years old, and I never thought of that, and I don't think it now.
Yeah, what my issues with Black Lives Matter and Antifa really come down to the violence and their goal. It seems to be their stated goal is to shut down free speech from people on the right, and I disagree with that. I think that everybody has the right to be heard, including Antifa, including white nationalists, including Black Lives Matter.
If you go back to the Constitution, you've got the right for speech.
Tom, thank you for the call, your calls, and thoughts.
Totally agree with you,
welcome.
Tom.
855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
What's the scariest thing about going to the dentist? Opening your mouth or opening your wallet? Because just a simple cleaning can cost $100, and things like root canals can cost you hundreds more. If you don't have dental insurance to help, you should give Physicians Mutual Insurance Company a call. 1-800-496-3947. This isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. This is real dental insurance that helps pay for checkups right away, so you can call today and get your teeth cleaned tomorrow. Plus, it helps cover the more expensive procedures you might need down the road. Fillings, crowns, bridges, even costly dentures. There's no deductible and no annual maximum. Your acceptance is guaranteed for one of these insurance policies, even if you're retired or on Medicare. There are no networks, so you can choose any dentist you'd like. That's right, any dentist you want. Call and we'll rush you a free information kit with all the details. 1-800-496-3947. That's 1-800-496-3947. 1-800-496-3947.
Do you trust our economy? How about our banking system? Our president has stated we are sitting on a bubble right now, and that when the Fed raises interest rates, bad things are going to happen. Well, the Fed is raising rates here and now. There has never been a better time to turn your IRA or 401k into physical gold or silver with GSI Exchange. Call 833-GSI-GOLD. GSI Exchange can make this happen fast, and it's money you control, not the big banks. 833-GSI-GOLD. Ask about our bank failure survival guide and learn how your qualified IRA transfer can get you $1,500 in free physical gold or silver delivered right to your home. GSI Exchange has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Call GSI Exchange at 833-GSI-GOLD. That's 833-474-4653. Or visit us on the web at gsi.gold.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc. as in Creative Commons.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Stouffer's, helping bring your family together with wholesome dinner options, even on the busiest of nights. Find dinner table ideas to bring your family together at letsfixdinner.com. To get kids involved in dinnertime conversation, ask specific questions, not broad ones. Instead of what happened today at school, try what was the best thing that happened today. The more specific you are, the more they'll have to say. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855 450 free. That's 855 450 3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is digital cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, private, easy. The fees are low, transactions are fast, and in some cases can be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the network. Join Dash, help create a better financial system for everyone, and take back control over your financial future today. Find out more at dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash, so go right now to dash.org and find out why. Let's go to Skype, where we've got Ricky calling in from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Not that it really makes any difference whether it's a Commonwealth or a state. Ricky, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Brother Darryl, thank you so much. It might tonight. I don't know if you heard by any chance, but I'm going to be going out this month with a rebel flag on my back. I don't know if you heard that.
I think I heard something about that a few days ago. So what's going on with this?
Well, actually, that's going pretty well, but I wanted to ask you something. See, first of all, people here in PA, very scared. A lot of people scared. Also,
about?
A lot of people...
What are they scared about?
About what's going on. They're confused. They're scared. A lot of them don't know why. They can't be themselves. You know what I mean? There's all kinds of people that are crazy, you know?
Well, give us a for instance.
Okay, I'll give you for instance. You have people out there, example, Antifa. I know that came up today, and my answer is I already made very clear that, they really suck, you know? They definitely a CIA project, most likely MK Ultra. They need to be stopped, you know?
Okay.
Period. That's period. That scares the hell out of people. The attitudes of people. I myself am having serious difficulty. That being said, I had a question for Darryl. The time is now. Now, I'm not that familiar with the Constitution of New Hampshire, but I'm sure you are. I am familiar with my Constitution of Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, 1968. See, here's what it comes down to. It's the right to petition Section 20, but I got a question about Section 2 of mine. See, in that it says, and I'll paraphrase, first part, you know, all power is inherent in the people. It goes into that. And it says all free government and all that junk. But the second part is the part I'm looking at also. It has, it says the people, have an inalienable and infeasible right to modify, reform, or abolish their government.
Yep.
at all times.
Correct.
Now, my question is, where is that type of wording? And I'm paraphrasing, but just like our Section 21, it's brutal. Where is that within the New Hampshire Constitution to start?
Article 10.
Can you give that to me, please?
Is it really in there?
Possible, maybe you could even throw mine in there at some point.
Yeah, let me...
well, first, Part 1, Article 1 of the New Hampshire Constitution says all men are born equally free and independent. Therefore, all government of right originates from the people, is founded in consent, and instituted for the general good.
Yep.
Part 1, Article 4 is the right of conscience. Part 1, Article 3 is about society and says that when men enter into society, they surrender some natural rights to that society in order to ensure the protection of others. Without such equivalent, the surrender of rights is void. And as been mentioned numerous times on this show, the U.S. Supreme Court has said there's no obligation to protect, which means any surrender of rights is void per the New Hampshire Constitution.
Right.
Part 1, Article 10 says government being instituted for the common benefit, protection, and security of the whole community, not for the private interest or emolument of any one man, family, or class of men. Therefore, whenever the ends of government are perverted and public liberty manifestly endangered, and all other means of redress are ineffectual, the people may, and of right, ought to reform the old or establish a new government. The doctrine of non-resistance against arbitrary power and oppression is absurd, slavish, and destructive of the good and happiness of mankind.
So I think that's
So what's the
pretty
question,
clear.
Ricky?
What's Pennsylvania's?
Well, my question is, I see that in New Hampshire, and I see that here in Section 2. So I've got to do my research, and I got to look cross-country. See, my thing is...
I'll tell you, I'll give you a little bit of a heads up on that. You'll find that most of the original states, the earlier states, up until the Civil War, most of them had something in their constitutions that allowed them to throw off a bad government, that the people had a right to replace it with something better if they felt that it was taking their rights away. What you'll find in the states that were brought into the Union following the Civil War is something completely different.
But a lot of them still have wording of rights reside and originate from the people.
They will, but they will also have sections in there that basically pledge allegiance by the state to the federal government.
Correct.
And that was
and
part
even,
of the Reconstruction.
Even some of the states before, because California was admitted to the Union well before the Civil War,
Right.
and their constitution pledges allegiance to the United States federal government.
California's constitution got a lot of problems.
California has a lot of problems.
So what's the question, Ricky? You keep dodging around the question. What is the actual question?
Well, okay, here's the question. The question is, because I've said many a time that a civil war is all that can save us.
That's a statement. What's the question?
Well, I'm wondering. Now I know people here already. I know last year people were going in that direction.
Still not a question.
Secession, Confederacy.
Okay.
Confederacy first. You see. And because I'm sick of people going out there calling Robert Lee a traitor. And how can Robert E. Lee be a traitor when he was allowed to do what he did? The guy's a war hero. It makes me want to throw up, you know? And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the lies and all that stuff. But the fact is, people here are ready. You know, people here
are ready. So the Commonwealth is ready for secession? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, absolutely. You know, people here have no problem, and the legislature has no problem making a phone call and pulling a judge. That happened last year because of that funny business in Philly when a judge tried to test it.
Right.
You know, and they've had it. I know speaking.
But impeaching a judge and seceding from the United States federal government are two completely different things. Ricky, thank you for the call. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. What are your thoughts on secession? Did anything that Ricky just said make any kind of sense to you? Because I'm still not really sure what the hell he was talking about.
Did he end up asking his question?
I always enjoy his calls.
The question was secession.
Okay.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733.
You want to save money in a place that gives you growth, control, and certainty without stock market risk or tax risk, and you want guarantees and you want it all tax-free. That's a tall order. But you can get all of that with properly designed participating whole life insurance. Most people think life insurance pays after you're dead. That's true. But you can have tax-free access to use your life insurance while you're alive. Get the free book to find out how. Call 702-660-7000.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit did your nerves spike. You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts welcome. Plus, if we have time, there's a fairly in-depth article from the Daily Beast on how cops have tricked dark web criminals, and I'm using air quotes around that word criminal, how they trick people on the dark web into unmasking themselves. Very interesting story, especially because we've covered some of the dark web markets on Free Talk Live. Last month, we talked about Alpha Bay and Hansa Market being taken down. Again, if we have time, we'll get into that. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And we'll go back to the phones. We've got someone calling themselves Genesis calling in from Bullhead City, Arizona, listening to KTOX. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, hey, you guys are talking about succession. Well, let me tell you that Washington, D., it's not the District of Columbia. It's the District of Crime, Corruption, and Conspiracies and the death of Christians in the New World Order. You're darn right we should succeed from the Union. We should go after all those people in the New World Order, all the people in the corporations, pushing their LBGT crap down our throats, pushing everything else. They're pushing our kids, what they're teaching the kids in school. It's terrible. They ought to be locked up, strung up, and, hung from the highest trees in Washington, D.C., all those politicians, all those crooked politicians. It's terrible.
So I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that all of the politicians are part of the New World Order. I have heard people talk about the New World Order as some sort of mystical sort of unknown group of people.
Well, I'll give you a few candidates, but it's pretty easy to do.
One of them. He's right here in Arizona. He's got a little sex ring down in ASU, the Arizona State University.
Well, that's a pretty specific accusation. Is that common knowledge down there?
You can hear about it here in Arizona. You probably don't hear about it where you guys are at, but we hear about it here.
Well, people hear a lot of things. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily true.
Well, it doesn't mean they're necessarily not true either, does it?
No, it doesn't. But if you're going to present something as the truth, you should at least have some kind of evidence to back up your claim. Thank you for the call. Let's jump into this article from the Daily Beast, again, about how cops have tricked people on the dark web into unmasking themselves. The article came out about a week ago. And again, last month, the FBI took down the Alpha Bay, which at the time was the largest online dark web marketplace. As part of the same operation, authorities in Europe announced that they had infiltrated the Hansa market, another dark web market, and claimed they had somehow obtained information that could help identify users who would have usually been protected by veils of digital anonymity. Dutch police may have used a novel technique to unmask suspects, a booby-trapped file that drug dealers, and again, not everybody that used the dark web was dealing drugs. There were some legal things that were available on the dark web, but there was basically a bad file, bad for users of the site. Not bad if you're trying to infiltrate and create criminals where there are none. The file would be downloaded to the computers, including people likely in the United States, according to digital evidence obtained by the Daily Beast. Although the tools cyber criminals use, such as the Tor network, are generally robust, law enforcement or hackers can still find workarounds. A post on Reddit from July reads, "Do not open the XLSX locktime file," referring to an Excel file hosted on Hansa. The article here continues. People selling items on these markets, specifically on Hansa, could download the file for a summary of their recent transactions. Usually, the file was a plain text document, but someone recently switched it to the Excel format, according to a post on Reddit. It's not clear when exactly the switch occurred, but Politie, the Dutch police, secretly took over Hansa on June 20th. On its own dark web site, Politie wrote that it had changed the code of Hansa, allowing the agency to capture passwords, Bitcoin, and other information.
So it's interesting. And I guess it looks like it's going into this. But yeah, if you can be tricked into downloading a file that's any Microsoft Office format, That also means you're downloading files that are capable of running macros, which are basically programs.
Right.
And if you trust it, then boom, it would be really easy for them to do something like that, to report back your real IP address, or load malware onto your home PC, or all kinds of other stuff.
Right. And
wow.
I find it very interesting here that the Dutch police are actually saying, yeah, we put up this Excel file, because the FBI, they've still not said what any of the things they did with that network investigative technique
that used all over the place.
Wound up capturing some people that went to the Playpen website, which was one of about 24 child porn websites that the FBI was running for several months.
Yep.
That's right. The FBI was running child porn websites on the dark web.
Well, Darryl, they must have taken off all the pictures of nude children.
Nope,
they didn't. So the FBI was actually making child pornography available to perverts all around the world.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the long and the short of it.
And then they were also posting links in various forums, and who knows if the links they were posting were saying, hey, look at child porn here, or if it just said, hey, here's an interesting site.
Right.
And then, getting people just going there, accidentally, if they just said, interesting website. The article here continues. Whoever switched the text file to an Excel document could have added additional bits of code within the download, those being, those various macros and other things. Some files can surreptitiously connect to the internet, while others may run programs that lock down a target computer.
See, now this is really smart, because this is a file that's designed to be downloaded by the users.
Yes.
To give them a list of their most recent transactions. I mean, it's like every website you go to. If it's a shopping website, you can usually see your history, or download your history, download your transactions.
Right. And this is a lot smarter. And I hate to give any kind of police entity some kind of credit, but on their end, it's smarter than putting in some Java sort of thing, because by default Java is not enabled in the Tor browser.
Yeah.
So and as far as we know, and again, the network investigative technique info has not come to light, but it's largely believed that that was a Java vulnerability, which means that people had to have gone into the settings of that Tor browser and activated Java for some odd reason. So this, where, hey, you want to look at your recent transactions?
Right.
Haha, and now we have all of your info about how you connect to the internet, where you're from, the MAC address from your device. Because generally, if you're going to connect to the Tor network, you want to have a VPN enabled before you connect to the Tor network, which helps obscure your location a little bit more. Some people would even say use a completely separate computer than the one that you use for everyday activities. So, if you're going onto Facebook, don't use that same computer to go onto the dark web.
Right. And that doesn't mean that you're doing things illegally. All it means is that you may have a problem with the government knowing everything that you do online. Because that's your business. It's not their business.
Right. And I believe Edward Snowden was communicating with journalists using some Tor chat programs. Same thing with Private Manning. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
If you're a sleep apnea sufferer who's on the go, go to your phone and call right now to try the world's first portable mini CPAP device, absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights. It's the Transcend Mini CPAP, an engineering marvel that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. Its unique design is so small and so light, you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. No more dragging around a big, bulky CPAP. Even better, now you can try Transcend absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights by calling minicpap.com, 1-800-940-1740. Transcend is FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. You can also add a battery pack that's as tiny as a deck of cards. So now you can enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. But don't wait. To receive your 10-night in-home trial, call minicpap.com now. 1-800-940-1740. That's 1-800-940-1740.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-7740. That's 800-610-7740. 800-610-7740.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm. Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. More on this article from the Daily Beast about how cops trick people on the dark web into revealing their identities. We'll get back into that in just a moment. But maybe you want the newest, freshest stories and perspectives on current events from those who value liberty. FreedomsPhoenix.com has it. Freedom's Phoenix is a liberty-oriented news aggregation site, and their daily dispatch is the best way to stay up to date on science, technology, historical findings, liberty news, government overspending, and the rise of the police state. FreedomsPhoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. FreedomsPhoenix.com. In studio, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And let's go to the phones. We've got Bill calling in from California. Bill, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. And just so you know, keep it up with saying what a terrible place California is. Those of us that live here like that, you know, we don't want anybody coming here for this spectacular scenery and gorgeous weather.
Horrible weather out there. I just can't stand to be in the 70s and 80s year round. Sounds horrible.
I know, terrible. Plus that spectacular scenery in the desert, the open deserts, and just the solitude in the eastern part of the state where I live. Anyways,
the only reason I'd go to California is for the wine.
Hey, Napa's great. I do like Napa. But you're right. There's a lot of natural beauty there, and not all of California is a liberal cesspool.
And California is better, according to the Freedom in the 50 States, California is better than New York.
True.
Twice as better. I realize that's not an actual, proper English sentence. But if you look at the ratings of the two states, New York is, twice as bad. So the difference between 49 and 50, New York could, improve 100% and would still be in 50th place.
Yeah.
Again, that according to the Freedom in the 50 State ranking that came out earlier this year. New Hampshire, where we are broadcasting from, #1 state. Go ahead with your thoughts, though, Bill.
Okay, well, I called yesterday. I don't know who was there yesterday. Which one of you guys was there yesterday?
Yesterday would have been Ian, Mark, and Jay. So none of the people on tonight were on the show last night.
Okay, well, because earlier you were talking about Chris Cantwell, and I've seen a lot about him, what's going on with his case and everything. And then I've listened to some of the callers you've had on lately. Okay, the Civil War guy, obviously. Then the guy from Bullhead City. Then you got the guy from New Jersey. There's some guy up in Massachusetts, a racist.
Scott.
Yep, Scott the Bigot. Ralph is the guy from New Jersey. Ricky is the guy from Pennsylvania that was talking about walking around carrying a rebel flag in Pennsylvania for some reason.
Yeah. We have Gettysburg. They do that there anyway.
Right.
But go ahead.
Well, anyways, I want to go back to Cantwell. I want to kind of extrapolate this to the national scene with Trump and with the KKK, and because sometimes I tune into Limbaugh and Hannity. I'm not a conservative or liberal or anything like that. I'm kind of a atheistic political atheist, you'd say. But I hear a lot from them that how much they abhor the right, the alt-right, the KKK, and neo-Nazis. But who does David Duke? You don't hear David Duke saying that Hillary Clinton's his person. He says that Donald Trump is my man. David Duke says that.
Yeah. Well, okay? David Duke has a right to say that, and maybe he agrees with that message. I personally, and please rebut this. Everybody refers to like Nazis, National Socialists, and these guys that are screaming for Trump to come down with a heavy-handed government to solve all their issues with all these minorities as being right. And to me, from a libertarian point of view, I see two sides of the axis. I see tyranny and I see liberty. And all these guys are, to me, and this is Antifa and Black Lives Matter and the alt-right and they're all on the side of tyranny. They're all begging government to solve the problem, whatever the problem is that they see from their point of view to their satisfaction. And I just it drives me
the
nuts.
irony is that government is the one causing all their problems, and if they actually weren't fighting each other and they united, and they could realize that wait, there's a common enemy here.
Right. But go ahead, please.
Well, there's a silly. They're talking about the commie Nazi theme that the Nazis are somehow left wingers or stuff like that. That's the going.
No. To be clear, socialism, whether it's National Socialism or any other flavor of socialism, see, I just hate to get baited into the left versus right.
Right, because
it is,
it's actually more like a diamond shape to where you've got, tyranny down at the bottom, liberty all the way at the top, and on the right you've got conservative, on the left you have liberal.
Yeah,
let me explain it. Okay,
go ahead.
They're being disingenuous. They equate it because they say that the Democratic Party, or that they're synonymous. The Nazis are synonymous with the Democrats and with left wingers. Okay, but what they leave out is the fact that even though maybe in the 20s and the 1920s the Nazis were for workers and they were socialists. Okay, there was a split in the Nazi Party as soon as Hitler came to power, because the left-wingers in the Nazi Party, Ernest Rem, Gregor Strasser, you're probably familiar with those names, okay? They were the leftists. They actually were in favor of socialism in the party. Right. Hitler couldn't give a rat's patoot about socialism. Hitler was hungry, thirsty for power and land, okay? Blood and soil. That's what Hitler wanted.
Okay.
Strasser and Rem wanted, the working man to, the socialism and anti-capitalist and all that. Well, the Night of the Long Knives changed everything, okay? And that's when Hitler, when the Nazis, even though they were National Socialists, they became hard right-wingers, okay? They took the corporatists under their wing, and they knocked out the socialist aspect of the party, and, they wouldn't have thrown 4 million men at the communists if they were both on the same page. They equate like the Nazis and the communist Nazis. Well, what was Operation Barbarossa? That was 4 million Nazis fighting against 8 million Bolsheviks. Okay,
right.
They would have never attacked their own people. Okay, so they're at the opposite ends of the spectrum. So it's disingenuous.
But again, we keep coming back to the spectrum at opposite ends, like there are only two sides of the. There's only a left and a right. That's the part that I get hung up on.
It's a continuum. It's a continuum. You got the communists are far leftist. I don't think anybody would argue that. Okay, they're far leftist. And I think fascism, I think it's far right. A lot of people won't agree with that, but I believe fascism is far right, okay? But nobody disagrees that communism is far left.
Well,
okay?
yeah, but I think, I'm going to go from my 30-plus years of being a registered Republican, and I drank the Kool-Aid for an awfully long time. People on the right, and I'm not saying alt-right, or I'm not saying Nazi Party or white, nationalist white movements, they tend to think of themselves, at least, as being small government, keep government out of the hands, keep government away from business, let us transact in ways that we see best, let us solve problems with the market. That's where sort of the grassroots of the Republican Party, I think, has a lot in agreement with libertarian thought and libertarian schools of thought. But in reality, what we get are the rhinos who just, they haven't met a government program they didn't adore, and they look for their handout too.
They call it small government, but we spend more on our military, and the military is the government, whether or not they want to admit it or not. The military is the government.
You're preaching to the choir there. There's no argument here whatsoever.
Military and the rest of the world combined, and they want to spend more even. So you see what I mean? I mean, they're talking out of both sides of their mouth. Okay.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that either.
Talking out of both sides of their mouth too.
What I'm saying is you have Republicans advocating socialist programs.
Right, and I want to read a very brief quote from Frederick Bastiat. He says, it's to be pointed out that protectionism, which is the term he used to describe what is basically fascism, that just wasn't a word when he wrote this. It's to be pointed out that protectionism, socialism, and communism are the same plant in 3 different stages of growth. All can be said that legal plunder is more visible in communism because it is complete plunder. In protectionism, because the plunder is limited to specific groups and industries. Thus, it follows that of the 3 systems, socialism is the vaguest, the most indecisive, and consequently the most sincere stage of development. So what he's saying is fascism, communism, and socialism, it's basically all the same thing, just at slightly different stages. Bill, thank you for the call.
Yeah, thanks.
Your call and thoughts. Welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, we've got more on the story about how the Dutch police trick some people online to revealing their identities. This is Free Talk Live.
Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is digital cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
Are you tired of governments around the world killing innocent people? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin is money that cannot be inflated or controlled by any state. By continuing to use their money, you're perpetuating the killing. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available to you now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. It's Bitcoin.com.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, August 31st, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.37 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,306 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,707. Antiwar.com reports, according to U.S. Central Command, U.S. warplanes attacked a major east-west highway in Syria on Wednesday to prevent a Red Crescent-led evacuation program, which was taking the Islamic State fighters and civilians out of the Syria-Lebanon border area of Deir-ez-Zor under a ceasefire deal. After the Islamic State lost most of its territory in the border region, they negotiated an evacuation deal with the militaries involved. The U.S. insists it was not a party to the deal and felt justified attacking the highway to stop the convoy as a result. The buses are said to contain 308 militants and 331 civilians. The U.S. insists that the convoy was not directly attacked because of the number of women and children inside, but that they do insist on all of the militants being killed instead of delivered to Deir-ez-Zor. On the other hand, the convoy is now effectively stuck smack in the middle of Syria with no easy way to move on to their intended destinations. CENTCOM spokesman Colonel Ryan Dillon insisted the convoy is still being monitored and that the U.S. would not rule out attacking the buses in the future if they believe it's appropriate to do so. Colonel Dillon went on to slam Russia, who appears wholly uninvolved with this whole evacuation process. He said the fact that Russia did not actively prevent the convoy from leaving proved that they aren't serious about fighting the Islamic State. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the top 3 U.S. airlines met with Secretary of State Rex Tillerson on Wednesday to ask for help competing with state-owned airline companies in the Middle East that they say are unfairly subsidized. Etihad Airways and Emirates Airlines are each owned by the United Arab Emirates, while Qatar Airways is owned by the Qatari government. And the CEOs of Delta Airlines, American Airlines, and United Airlines argue that those airlines receive massive unfair state subsidies, which is not allowed under their International Open Skies Agreement. The 3 U.S. airline companies have been making allegations about unfair subsidies for years, while the Middle Eastern airlines have repeatedly denied them. Not all airlines from the U.S. are on the side of the big 3 companies. Hawaiian Airlines and JetBlue Airways have said they don't want to renegotiate the Open Skies Agreement, and FedEx also has opposed the measure because it has a major shipping hub in Dubai that operates under the same agreement. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports Tropical Storm Harvey spun across southeast Texas into Louisiana on Wednesday, sending more people fleeing for shelter after swamping Houston with record rains and flooding that killed at least 25 people and drove tens of thousands from their homes. The slow-moving storm has forced at least 30,000 people to seek shelter since coming ashore on Friday near Corpus Christi, Texas, as the most powerful hurricane to hit Texas in more than half a century. On Wednesday, it pummeled a stretch of coast from Port Arthur, Texas to Lake Charles, Louisiana. Among the latest deaths reported were 2 people who drowned while driving through high water near Simonton, Texas, about 40 miles west of Houston. Houston's KHOU-TV reported that an infant girl was swept away by floodwaters as her parents were driving from Houston towards Louisiana on Highway 150. Police in Harris County, home to Houston, said 17 people remained missing. Busloads of people fleeing floodwaters around Port Arthur arrived in Lake Charles, joining local residents who had already packed into shelters to escape waterlogged homes. Moody's Analytics is estimating the economic cost for Harvey for southeast Texas is between $51 to $75 billion. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said the worst is not yet over for southeast Texas as far as the rain is concerned. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Despite a long-held consensus pointing to the mid-20s as the final stage of brain maturation, a new study has found that the adolescent brain doesn't fully form until boys have avenged their father's murder.
New imaging studies suggest that the frontal cortex goes through extensive changes during the period of training when an adolescent boy prepares himself to track down and kill the man who took his father's life. But it's not until the boy stares deep into the murderer's eyes and then stabs him right in the heart that the two lobes fuse into a fully mature brain.
According to Dr. Laurie's findings, the myelin surrounding the teenage nerve synapses develops when boys stake out the home of their father's murderer, put themselves through grueling physical training, and fantasize again and again about how satisfying it will be when he finally makes the bastard who took everything from him beg for his life.
Now, if they let their father's killer slip through their grasp, or if they press the barrel of a gun to the back of his head and then realize they don't have what it takes to pull the trigger, then the amygdala is definitively stunted, and they'll have lifelong problems interpreting emotional information.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Kicking off our number 3 in studio, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And let's get back into the story here that we started in the last hour from the Daily Beast about how police are getting people using the dark web to unmask themselves. This is specifically about how Dutch police, the politie, wound up taking over the Hansa market, which was one of the online markets on the dark web on the Tor network. Tor stands for the Onion Router. You need special software to be able to get to it. And one of the features of the Tor network is a certain level of anonymity. What the Dutch politie did was they replaced one file that allowed people to view their transaction history with an Excel file. And someone posted on Reddit in late July, do not open the XLSX lock time file, because what happened and what happens or could happen with Excel format files is that there's things called macros that can be activated and wind up getting some information.
And it's interesting. It looks like what it did was when you tried to connect to it, when this file was activated, it would point you at a wide open server that looked just like Hansa.
Right. So the article here continues on its own dark web website, politie. So yes, the Dutch police had their own website on the dark web. They wrote that they changed the code of Hansa, allowing the agency to capture passwords, Bitcoin, and other information. Whoever switched the text file to an Excel document could have added additional bits of code within the download. Some files can surreptitiously connect to the internet, while others may run programs that lock down the target's computer. The Daily Beast actually obtained a copy of the file hosted on Hansa, and surprise, surprise, they confirmed that when opened with Microsoft Office on Windows, the file does try to connect to a remote server. Crucially, it does so outside of Tor, the anonymity network that is used to hide your location, meaning the file exposes the user's real IP address. Or I guess in theory, if you're still using a VPN, it would wind up
expose the address of your VPN server.
Right. So, it's still possible to not reveal exactly where you are.
Right. So anything on the dark web has they are considered onion, or .onion is the
that's the probably the most common,
right?
Because there's also other dark web services, other dark web networks.
But you'll be going to something else that is on the dark web, and all this seems to have done was it pointed the user to a regular, straightforward server that they were just logging everything on, so they could see the connection, they could see where you were coming from.
Armed with this information, police can then approach the relevant internet service providers and demand identifying details on who is behind it. The file obtained by the Daily Beast appears to relate to a U.S.-based dealer on Hansa, judging by their online handle. Buried within the Excel file is a set of commands that tells the file which server to contact. The structure is similar to that of the so-called canary token, a tool digital defenders typically use to notify them when a hacker steals or downloads their files. Cybersecurity firm Thinkst maintains the canary token software. Haroon Mir, the founder of Thinkst, told the Daily Beast the Hansa file includes elements that were similar in structure to a canary token. It's not clear how many people on the Hansa market downloaded the file, although Palati's FAQ on the Hansa takedown does not mention the Excel file. It does, however, say, quote, information about individuals from other countries has been shared with the appropriate agencies through Europol. It's up to those agencies what they will do with the information, end quote. Not much information is available about the server that the Hansa file reaches. It is based in France and belongs to popular web hosting company OVH, according to an online record. When connecting to the server at the time of writing, it just displays a generic error message, but according to one of the Reddit posts in July, the IP address pointed to a page identical to Hansa. Nicholas Weaver, a senior researcher at the International Computer Science Institute at UC Berkeley, told the Daily Beast, that is further suggesting that it was part of a de-anonymization scheme.
Yeah, and this is what it's all about. People believe that they are not being tracked. They believe that if they do things, certain parts of the internet, that, you know what, I'm free to do whatever I wish and nobody's going to be able to catch me because, hey, it's Tor and I'm anonymized and maybe I'm using a VPN and things like that. But just nothing is guaranteed, and all these sites, you run a risk when you use them. Right. That's the first thing. The second thing that the Dutch politie have done here is they have made the world a more dangerous place, and people will die because of their actions. I say that because...
Right, explain what you mean by that.
Yeah, believe me, I will. What you have with online drug marketplaces are the same drugs that people can buy on the street. The difference is all these online drug marketplaces have user reviews, user ratings, and things like that. So people can say, hey, never buy anything from this guy because it's complete junk. Or my friend bought from this guy and he overdosed. The dosage wasn't at all what he was said, what was said he was going to receive.
Or I thought I was buying an ounce and I wound up getting 7/8 of an ounce. So, I got shorted. Anything like that. If that happens on the street and you go, 10 tell your buddies, hey, don't buy from this guy.
Right.
Chances are people aren't going to say, hey, thanks for the heads up. The guy's going to say, why are you talking S about me?
And it's bigger than that. The big issue to me is when somebody says, let's say an addict, a heroin addict, and let's say it's somebody in your family goes online to buy drugs, and they're going to buy drugs locally. They're going to buy them online. They're an addict. That's going to happen. And instead, they go down to the corner and they buy what they're being told is heroin, and in reality, it is mostly fentanyl. They overdose and they die. When you have online marketplaces with reviews and ratings and things like that, you have a higher chance of those drugs being actually what they purport to be.
I don't know about that, man.
No, I do know about that.
There's companies that pay people to leave fake reviews.
Sure.
Like,
that happens.
I would say that unless you get a first-person review or like someone you know that's used that service,
you always
online reviews could be totally BS.
There are even companies that you can reach out to, send them a very small amount of what you've purchased, and they can verify for you what it is.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that there's not like fentanyl and stuff on the street. I'm just saying, like, I mean, don't assume that reviews on the internet are necessarily accurate.
But what I am saying is there is a check and a balance there against a transaction that does not exist on the street. You may have word of mouth and that's it, but most people...
But if it's all anonymous on the tort thing, then how do you even know who the reviews are? I mean,
because people do have usernames, and if you see the same username in multiple forums on multiple sites, chances are they're an actual person behind that.
When we talk about street dealing, it completely lacks any of that. Matter of fact, if you go and complain about what you got from a drug dealer, he's probably going to take some offense to that, and you may get thumped for it.
In order to have safety, you have to have transparency, though?
That depends on the subject and depends on the context, so not necessarily.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, there's more on this article from the Daily Beast. This is Free Talk Live.
Warning. If you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $5,000 or more in credit card debt, you now have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now. 1-800-957-9489. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates now for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk. For free information, call now. 1-800-957-9489. That's 1-800-957-9489. 1-800-957-9489.
Kiyosaki, Rogers, and Schiff all concur there's an economic calamity that'll be facing this country. My question to you is, do you know when, and are you prepared? Most people don't, but my friends over at Republic Monetary Exchange have been leading experts in precious metals to help you offset the coming economic collapse. Right now, for a limited time, they have a free book called The 10 Reasons You Should Own Gold. You simply need to give them a call at 888-772-2929 to get that in your hands. Do not allow the insiders to do what they did to you in 2008, putting your IRAs, 401ks, and savings in jeopardy. You need this book, and you need it now. The 10 Reasons You Should Own Gold. Call 888-772-2929. That's 888-772-2929. There's a reason that the largest investment banking company in the world, JP Morgan, just purchased another 50 million ounces of silver. This free book will explain it. 888-772-2929.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And there's a little bit more to this story about how the Dutch police specifically wound up using a corrupt file to get some dark web users to reveal their identity without their knowledge. We'll get back into that, but let's talk nutritional supplements for a minute. Over 60% of Americans take a nutritional supplement, and for good reason. Nutrient depletion of our soil, coupled with dependence on processed foods, has left most people deficient in essential nutrients. But where do you start? If you visit a naturopath, you'll likely be told that cheap vitamins and minerals simply don't cut it, that you also need probiotics, enzymes, antioxidants, and other nutrients. By the time it's all said and done, you're buying 5 bottles of products and spending $150 a month. If this is a situation you've experienced, then you need to know about Whole Food Multi-Complete. For 15 years, Whole Food Multi-Complete has been quietly providing what the big guys want: the perfect blend of 7 supplements in a single product. They've taken the expense and complexity out of following a complete supplement program. Visit simplifymysupplements.com to learn more. Enter coupon code FTL, as in Free Talk Live, to receive 10% off your order every time you order. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. And they do take Bitcoin. It's slightly different process. You have to send an email through the contact form on the website. Just mention that coupon code FTL in that message, and you will get that 10% off of your order. Again, coupon code FTL, simplifymysupplements.com. Just a little bit more on this article here from the Daily Beast, and we will get to the phones. Again, the Dutch police, the Politie, wound up taking over the Hansa online market, replacing a text file that allowed people to see their transaction history, replace that with an Excel file that wound up, once downloaded and opened, attempted to connect to a server that wound up taking people to something that looked like the Hansa site that allowed them to then get usernames, passwords. The file would also reveal the IP address, the originating IP address, and then the Dutch police would contact local internet service providers to get more information. The article here continues. Comments from European officials also indicate this suspicious Excel file may be connected to a law enforcement operation. In a previous interview with this reporter, Rob Wainwright, the head of Europol, implied that some sort of tool was used to identify Hansa users, and Petra Hendrikman, the leader of the Dutch unit that infiltrated Hansa, told security journalist Brian Krebs, "We did use some technical tricks to find out who people are." This sounds familiar to the way law enforcement agencies have unmasked other suspects who use Tor. The police in Australia sent child porn suspects a video that connected to a server that police controlled, and the FBI has reportedly done something similar with poisoned files. Earlier this month, prosecutors announced charges against an alleged extortionist. The FBI added code to a video that surreptitiously phoned home to a government-run computer. What is not mentioned in this article is the fact that in some of the online investigations of dark web websites, that you had Secret Service agents and DEA agents and other federal officials that were actually stealing Bitcoin. And they were very corrupt and extorting people. And then when the alleged operator of the website went to trial, even though the defense knew some of this information, one, they were not given the entire story, and two, they were not allowed to present any of this information of corruption to the jury. And then you wind up with Raul Solbrick serving 2 life sentences plus 40 years, which is essentially a triple life sentence, all because he operated a website.
Right.
Let's go to the phones. We've got Brandon calling in from Massachusetts. Brandon, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Doing well. What's on your mind?
I wanted to call in because there's been a lot of controversy about the recent Boston free speech rally, and I was actually
Oh, Brandon, what's up?
Hey, Heather, how are
Just
you?
totally clicked. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah. I was actually one of the original speakers listed for the free speech rally, and what I thought was going to be a very benign and boring event had me in the middle of a national controversy that has been literally the most crazy thing in my entire life.
So this event in Boston, for people that aren't familiar, happened a couple of weeks ago in the Boston Common, and it was being...
I believe it was August 20th.
Which would be a couple of weeks ago. It was being promoted as some kind of alt-right rally, I believe, because of some of the people that were originally invited to speak who were then either disinvited or of their own volition withdrew. The police in Boston said that they were going to limit access to the Common, which appears to have happened based on various photos. I've heard that no more than like 50 people were allowed around the little pavilion where the rally was actually happening.
Yeah, and so this is probably the biggest case of the mainstream media just outright lying that I've ever seen. And what actually happened was it all started right after Charlottesville. A CNN anchor falsely tweeted to Marty Walsh that these two events were organized by the same organizer. Now, this is completely false. He said in the tweet it was a man named Kessler, when that's not true. The Boston organizer was a man named John Medler, completely different people. And yet the CNN anchor made this, without any doubt, saying these were the same people who were organizing this event, and tweeted it to Marty Walsh. And this unleashed a internet hate mob that, for starters, tracked down all of the people who were listed as as speakers, including myself, and they sent enough hatred to my employer that I was immediately fired.
Wow.
Yeah. Beyond that, they then went and doxed me.
Can you explain how what your employer said to you, when they how that conversation went?
Yeah. So I was actually
hold the thought, Brandon. Hold the thought. We'll get back to you. And yeah, this is rather interesting. It's somebody that was scheduled to speak at a rally wound up getting fired just because they were speaking at a rally. Definitely want to hear more. Plus, your calls and thoughts. Welcome 855-450-FREE.
If you had purchased $100 of Bitcoin in 2010, today you'd have $2,600,000. While that sinks in, you now have a huge cryptocurrency opportunity at below market price at a guaranteed 10 cents per coin. ProCoin, a coin publicly traded on the open market, easily converted to cash, available in 60 countries, and ProCoin is the only cryptocurrency offering coin-back rewards for consumers and merchants. Take action by August 31st at procoincurrency.net. That's procoincurrency.net. Deadline for 10-cent guarantee is August 31st.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And we've got Brandon on the phone calling in from Massachusetts. Brandon was listed as a speaker at the Boston Free Speech Rally that took place a couple of weeks ago and wound up some people pulled up some information on him, wound up calling his now former place of employment, and he wound up being terminated, for a lack of a better term. So, Brandon, Heather had the question about, what was the conversation like with the employer, but also any idea what was being said to the employer by the various people that were calling in?
Yeah, so when I was actually out clothes shopping with my daughter on a Sunday, and I started getting all of these calls. I had heard some things on my phone. I didn't have internet service except on my phone, and I had heard some news reports of Charlottesville, but I didn't really know what they were. Right. And I started getting all these calls, and one was from a Herald reporter. And then one of them was my employer. And they said, it's come to our attention that, you were listed as a speaker from this free speech rally. And I said, well, yeah, I was listed as a speaker. And they said, okay, you're fired. Don't bother coming in tomorrow. Mail us back your laptop. And I asked them, and they said yes, because people were tweeting in, people were calling in, and that's the reason why I was fired.
Right. So I want to try getting something clear here. You said that when the employer called you, you did confirm you were listed as a speaker. It sounds like you didn't actually speak at the rally.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. This was the day after Charlottesville and a week before the scheduled event. So I was fired over rumors that were not true about words I had not yet spoken.
Right. And probably would not have spoken.
So how long before Charlottesville happened had you accepted the offer to speak?
Yeah, it was actually about a month or two before Charlottesville, and the only reason I did it was because a person I admire, Shia Ayadurai, who's an Indian American who's running for U.S. Senate in Massachusetts, who's an engineer like myself. I admitted I'm biased towards engineers, but I supported him, so I said, "Oh, of course, if he's, I'd love to be on the same billing as him." And so, little did I think that my efforts to actually try to get more diversity in the U.S. Senate would have me labeled as a white supremacist.
So this must be the
pictures.
Now, hold on, I want to know: is this Indian American gentleman a white supremacist? Somewhere in here, there's a white supremacist, right?
Well, they keep on telling me that, but I couldn't find a single one at the rally. So it's
I
kind
didn't
of
see
funny.
any either.
Yeah, so the Senate candidate was surrounded, again, Indian American, was surrounded by people holding up Black Lives Matter signs.
Right. They're not the white supremacists.
Yeah, but yet the entire crowd, because I was like, I couldn't get anywhere near the bandstand. I was in like the sea of like 40,000 people, like just walking around. And I have to admit, though, the entire Boston Commons smelled like marijuana, which is so crazy with 40,000 people there. But anyway, I couldn't hear a single word on the bandstand, even though they were holding up sign that literally said Black Lives Do Matter. I saw the pictures afterwards. The crowd like booed when they were escorted away. And I'm like, I thought you were like supporting equality and all of these like righteous things. And now you're booing people that were just holding Black Lives Do Matter signs as they get escorted into paddy wagons.
It doesn't matter. I mean, this is not, it was, I guess at some point the intent was free speech, but when these groups counter protest, it's all about denying free speech. And that's the only message that they want to come out of this is we shut them down. We denied them a voice. We did not allow them to spew their hate. And by hate, we mean anything we happen to disagree with.
Right, and some of the people, and I'm certainly not saying all, so don't anybody say that that's what I said. Some of the people on the so-called right, especially a fair number that were in Charlottesville for that Unite the Right, they want to be able to portray themselves as victims. They want to be able to say, see, look at these people trying to silence me. They don't want you to hear what I have to say. And that's, I think, just as bad. The people that are, trying to make themselves out to be martyrs, that's just as bad as the people that are trying to do the silencing.
Well, see, what I think is bad is this journalist that Brandon mentioned that tweeted Mayor Walsh. I mean, like, when you're a journalist, right, and the power that the press has to a certain extent, like, there's a huge level of responsibility with that. Like, you don't publish false information. I mean, even after the Charlottesville incident happened, right? Somebody released, one media outlet published the name of the wrong driver. Right. So some kid 1,000 miles away from Charlottesville started getting death threats because this journalist jumped the gun and put out wrong information. Like, I think there should be some type of punishment for this, for this journalist that jumped and tweeted false information.
Well, I think you should stop calling people that don't abide by the journalistic ethics standards, stop calling them journalists.
Right.
Whatever, yeah.
Right, but the market should decide that, and a company should decide. This is a little clip from an article in the Boston Globe that I really like this opening line. The title of it is "A Free Speech Rally Minus the Free Speech." And it's, if one line captured the essence of Saturday's Boston Common rally and counter-protest, it was a, quote, halfway through Mark Arsenault's page one story in the Globe. Quote, "Excuse me," one man in the counter-protest innocently asked a Globe reporter, "where are the white supremacists?" That was the day in a nutshell. Participants in the Boston Free Speech Rally had been demonized as a troop of neo-Nazis prepared to reprise the horror that erupted in Charlottesville. They turned out to be a couple dozen courteous people linked by little more than a commitment to, surprise, free speech. That just summed it up for me. And I'd love to see you talk to a labor, an attorney that specializes in labor law.
Well, here's the interesting thing. One of the speakers was actually a progressive socialist, Bernie Sanders supporting free speech lawyer. And he was actually barred from speaking on that day. And he said, in his professional opinion, what he saw, if it is not challenged in court, it will be the greatest erosion of our free speech rights in the last quarter century.
Good.
Now, yeah, so here's exactly what Boston did. They said, we understand it's completely unconstitutional to deny the permit, right? So what they did instead was they denied about half of the speakers. They only allowed their security entourages. They denied everyone who wanted to attend the rally, and they denied all of the press.
Jeez.
So what they've literally done is they've said, we don't have to illegalize the speech. We'll just ban the listeners.
Right.
That is absolutely ridiculous. And, it sounds like the city might be ripe for a lawsuit there. I'm not really sure. Brandon, definitely keep us posted if there's any new developments.
Yeah, call back in
that.
if you hear anything else.
If I could, I would just ask everybody, I have on my GoFundMe page, which is gofundme.com/NAV.
You're out of time, Brandon.
Data rates may apply.
Attention, it is illegal to text and drive. So if you're experiencing hair loss and you want a permanent solution, please pull over now, because an incredible offer that could give you your hair back is just one text away. Bosley is America's #1 hair restoration expert, always pioneering the latest technology. And now, we're giving everyone who texts EASY77 to 543-543 an absolutely free information kit that reveals just how easy and affordable this permanent solution really is. Don't wait. When you text EASY77 to 543-543, we'll also give you a gift card for $250 off. Millions of men and women have come to Bosley for a permanent solution to hair loss. So pull over now and see for yourself how great your hair could look with an absolutely free information kit. Text EASY77 to 543-543. Plus, get a free gift card. This amazing offer is just one text away. EASY77 to 543-543.
BuySellMakeOffer.com is better than ever. I'm Pat Matthews, here to tell you that BuySellMakeOffer.com, the revolutionary site for buying and selling anything and everything, just upped the ante. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and click the Sign Me Up button. When you do, you'll get the first month free, and then it's just $9.95 a month to be a member forever. And you don't need a credit card for the initial setup. Create your own store on the site and sell whatever you want, as long as it's legal, however you want, and sell an unlimited number of items. Create your own intro video to describe what your store is all about. Use Skype to see who you're buying from or selling to. Sell unused household items, as well as antiques, cars, televisions, collectibles, real estate. The possibilities are unlimited. Use social networks to promote your store right from our site. Remember, there are never any fees, no matter how much you sell. Become a member today. I'm a member. Get all your friends to sign up, too. This could become a great business for you. Sell whatever you want for the first 30 days, free at BuySellMakeOffer.com.
America is at a crossroads on many issues, leading many to ask, is it time for the president to blow the silver horn left behind by the Founding Fathers in case the country ever needed them? Of course, the horn, which has been sitting in the Oval Office since 1817, has never been used by a commander-in-chief, but many Americans think now might be the time to summon our forefathers. Which Founding Fathers would come back?
All of them. Look, when you have a bug problem, you call the exterminator. When you have an America problem, you call the Founding Fathers. They know what to do.
We have to keep in mind the Founding Fathers left us with a warning. If you blow the horn with less than pure intentions, it will turn to tin and can never be used.
But a president has to take risks. Have the courage to admit that his administration is not all-knowing and blow that magic silver horn to summon someone who is.
Yes, but what if we become too reliant on them and they disappear after the next new moon, as was written?
This is the Onion News Network.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Possibly time for you and your thoughts if you call in now. Here in the final segment. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And the caller in the last segment, Brandon, he did give us that GoFundMe link. It's gofundme.com/Navom, spelled Navom. The link has been posted to the Facebook and the Twitter for Free Talk Live. And you don't need money to do business on Simbi.com. It's a slick, easy-to-use marketplace where you trade your talents for other people's services and abilities. You can forget the old economy. This is your economy. You won't believe the diversity of services on Simbi. Hundreds of thousands of people are acting within the symbiotic economy. Get an account on Simbi.com, take a look around, and post your services. Simbi.com, SIMBI.com. Let's go back to the phones. We've got Sarah calling in from New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yes, I heard that Ian was talking about one of the callers and listeners who was put in jail for some traffic violations, I guess, in New Hampshire. But, my great recommendation is that he needs to come in and move to Albuquerque, because we have no red light cameras, no speeding bans whatsoever, and we have hardly no cops. And the same person gets run over 2 times by 2 different drivers. So I think...
Yeah, you keep saying that the same person, and I don't know why this guy, keeps jumping into the street to get run over by the same car twice in a row.
This happened once, or this happens every day?
No, it happens like, I heard it, I've been here I think 15 years, and it's every 3 years or every other year. It's always at night. So it's very hard for the first drivers hit them. The second driver don't know that there's somebody laying on the street.
Oh, sure.
And the second one runs over.
Yeah,
so,
it happens with pets too.
Yeah. So that's why I'm excited that I wanted to invite this listener that when he comes out of jail, he needs to come and live here. This might be a paradise for him. He never has to worry about any traffic.
So you're saying that nobody ever gets traffic citations there in New Mexico?
Yes, they do. Very seldom, and we have
You're saying it's pretty
cop
rare.
shortages. Well, we had that Lily. They had that road rage, and the guy shot into the car, and she was in the back seat, and she got shot in the head. And they did a big shake-up. Everybody got jacked up for speeding, reckless driving, for a month. And then they have these drunk driver shake-ups during holidays. But the rest of them, we just don't have enough police to handle the, robberies and auto theft. They have them home burglaries. They can't be pulling people over for running a red light. We have such officer shortages.
Most.
So I was going to invite Ian to move down here because he hates police. He'll love it here, too.
I don't think Ian hates all police, but I think he sometimes hates the actions that they take when they have some discretion.
And when they're, enforcing
silly laws,
statutes and ordinances that create a criminal where there is no victim. If police, and I don't want to put words in Ian's mouth because he's not here, but I've heard him say things similar to if police were going after, the actual criminals, the people, breaking into people's homes, the people that are,
killing people,
killing, murder, rape, assault, things of that sort, where there's an actual victim. If they were doing that instead of what they do a lot of times here, because we live in a college town. College students just got back into town about 4 days ago. So coming up here probably tonight, definitely tomorrow night, there's going to be a police officer walking around the campus waving college girls off of the grassy areas near the dorms onto the sidewalk,
right,
so that they can then wind up writing them a citation for open container. So if the police weren't doing that and going after the real criminals,
sure,
then I don't think Ian would have as much a problem with the police as he has.
Or me. Honestly, that's my biggest issue.
But you know what? You guys have the luxury of complaining about the police for messing with people for small petty stuff. We have people getting robbed, 5 robberies per day. We have no police to complain about because we don't have real officers to handle 27 auto thefts per day. So you guys, Ian complains about it. Well, he needs to move down here too. like I said, I mean,
Well,
he needs to move down here because we're not gonna. He's not gonna have any police to complain about when he gets his car stolen and his home broken into.
Okay, so I'm performing my own cardinal sin, and I'm going to quote from Wikipedia only because it was the fastest thing I could find. According to the U.S. Bureau of Justice Statistics 2008 census of state and local law enforcement agencies, New Mexico has 146 law enforcement agencies employing 5,010 sworn officers, about 252 for each 100,000 residents. This is almost exactly the national average of policemen to residents in the United States. So it may seem like
Albuquerque does have police officers, Sarah. As much as you think they don't, and as much as you think that this same guy gets run over all the time, it's just not true. You make up your own facts. A lot of times, Sarah, you do make up facts.
But it may seem that way to her. It seems like there are no cops.
That's the same guy. Look at it. If it's the same guy, they're already dead already. If you get hit by a bomber, they're already dead. It's not the same guy.
I understand.
But this occurrence happened at least 7 times. So
Well,
it's
seven times over the course of how many years?
I think the more pertinent statement is that New Mexico is very typical for the number of police it has per number of citizens. So it is pretty typical. Unfortunately, when they're out chasing around people for victimless crimes, you have real crimes that go unsolved. Right. And, state after state, has got lawsuits pending because they've got, 20,000 untested rape kits, or all these unsolved murders and that nobody's working, but somehow they can find the manpower to put a cop with a radar gun behind a billboard. It drives me nuts.
And there have been numerous federal court rulings that say that the police have no obligation to protect you, that the police have no obligation to protect anyone. That, like the whole protect and serve is, like society at large, not any individual person. And again, there have been numerous court rulings at federal court levels, at the U.S. Supreme Court level. And Sarah, a lot of times, again, you kind of make up your own sort of things that you call facts. Thank you for the call. Now, something that's not made up is some kind of hysteria about a banana peel. What's all of this about, Chris?
The banana has taken the headlines once again, and this comes to us from...
Oh, can I say something real quick? Can I interject you?
Can you interrupt?
Yeah.
Yes, you may interrupt.
I just saw this headline: car plunges out of woods towards President Trump's motorcade, and there's a video.
That's not funny.
And not at all radio friendly.
What do you mean it's not funny?
It's kind of hard to share a video. I'm going to jump in.
Car driving towards the motorcade is not funny.
No, I'm not saying that's funny. There's a video is what I find funny, is because normally whenever there's these accusations, there's never any footage of it anywhere.
That's a good point.
Do you know what I mean? And I haven't seen the video yet, but I'm like, is this like real? Because I don't know.
So tell us about this banana peel, Chris.
All right, fine. Talk about bananas. I thought, a car trying to, ram...
Okay.
I don't know.
This is coming to us from Campus Reform. The article is called Greek Life Retreat Canceled After Banana Peel Found in Tree. I'm not making that up. A Greek Life Retreat at the University of Mississippi, Ole Miss, was promptly canceled this weekend after a banana peel was found hanging in a tree. A student said he threw the peel because he could not find a garbage can, but the incident made some students uneasy, so the school felt it was imperative to provide space immediately to students affected by the incident.
What?
I know.
I saw a banana peel. I now need therapy. What?
To be clear, many members of the community were hurt, frightened, and upset by what occurred at Impact. Interim Director of Fraternity and Sorority Life, Alexa Lee Arndt, remarked in an email between Greek leaders, according to the Daily Mississippian. Because the underlying reality many students of color endure on a daily basis, the conversation manifested into a larger conversation about race relations today at the University of Mississippi. So they canceled it due to a banana peel.
We'll post this link on the Facebook and the Twitter. And if you didn't get in tonight, try back earlier tomorrow. We are always online at freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember that